Hey, I'm sorry this video is awful quality and I'm in my pajamas still, but I was reading about the thing that happened with the Korean ferry that was visiting Jeju with all of the high school students, and it's just unbelievable to read about because that was exactly the kind of ferry that I was on last year when I went to Jeju with my group of Americans. And it's just insane to think about these similarities because I looked at a picture of the boat and it looked very similar to what we were on. And when we were going to Jeju, it seemed like there was no end to the number of high school boys. I was just overwhelmed with how many high schoolers were on board. And at that time, I didn't realize how common it was for high schoolers to take trips to Jeju. But yeah, I mean, it's just like I can still remember them. They were all just crowded in the hallways, yelling at each other and having fun and being crazy, and obviously just, really wanting to get to Jeju. But we were on the boat for 5 hours, and I imagine that this boat would have had even longer to go. But yeah, it was just kind of insane, but also fun, just since all these kids are, excited and happy, and they're all yelling, "Oh, I love you," to us Americans, because there were very few. We may have been the only Americans. Well, that's not true, but we were some of the very few Americans on board. So when they'd see us, they'd yell any English they knew, and I didn't know how to respond to that. But it's just them being them. Uh, yeah, and I mean, just the inside of the ship, there was some areas that were larger, but like where people were being held, which I think is when you hear stories of the students saying they're telling us to stay put in the rooms, we have our life jackets on. Where we were, there was holding rooms where you could sit, and they were not very big at all, and they would cram a ton of people in there, and the hallways are extremely narrow. So even if you did manage to get into the hallway, I was reading stories of people that were saying, "We're in the hallway, and there's so many people in the hallway, I can't move." And I mean, seriously, these hallways are like 3, 4 feet wide. It seemed, I mean, very, very narrow. So once you get a few people in there, you're not going anywhere. And it's just, it's unbelievable. It's so incredible to be able to totally know. I can't know what these poor people went through, but I know what it's like to be on one of those ships with all these high schoolers. And it just breaks my heart entirely to kind of visually be able to be there. Yeah, I can't imagine. And I feel so bad for the high school that's losing all these students and the parents, the agony they're going through.